Thank you.
Thank you for reminding me, because if not, then I'll just go directly into my thingy. All right. So these are the questions that we received from the participants from last session. How to build a meaningful and long-term connection with industry professionals with LinkedIn. And the next one is your one-on-one small group advice and discussions. And your number 3 is more resume sample from different disciplines. And the last one is how to identify whether the company representative that you are contacting is real. So I guess I am going to take comment number 1 and comment number 4, and Kevin Goh will take comment number 2 and number 3 for his workshop. So I am going to explain my answers to these questions a little bit later on as we proceed to the workshop. Now, the next one, I hope you still recall your last lesson or last workshop. I mentioned that there are many kinds of job boards for people to post job vacancies, and at the same time for applicants to look for openings. And LinkedIn is one of them. And when it comes to LinkedIn, I personally feel that it is a little bit more a little bit better than other job boards, because number 1, it has 30 million companies having their company website, or they would be posting their job vacancies. Every month you get 20 million job listings on LinkedIn, and there are like 100 million job applications per month. These kinds of numbers show you how powerful LinkedIn is. And if you want to be one of those applicants, or if you want to enrich your professional network, enlarge your professional network, first of all, you need to have an ACE LinkedIn profile. The ACE refers to you'll create your all-star profile and connect to knowledge workers all around the world and engage to grow your own network. Now, for the all-star profile, why do you need to have it? Because it is 40 times easier for you to be identified, for you to be found by recruiters. And you also generate 3 times more traffic from searchers, from the feed, and also your professional, your connection, your network. Now, when it comes to your LinkedIn profile, if you have a blank profile, because you just sign up for it, your profile will look something like this. Okay, and I'm not going to walk you through all the sections, because it's very easy. You just fill in the blanks. And when it comes to necessary information for you to create an all-star status for yourself, the first thing you need to do is to fill in experience, referring to any current or past part-time job or summer job or internships or whatsoever. Just fill in the details. And your next is about your education, because all of you are university students. So very likely you are going to have, well, I only have your 1, and I haven't even completed my bachelor's degree. Then fill in your university information as well. Now, why I put in secondary school? Because very likely your secondary school classmates or alumni have already graduated from the university, and they are an active user of LinkedIn. So find those alumni and you'll connect to them to grow your network. Other than that, you also need to have 5 and more skills that you include in your LinkedIn profile, maybe like your software knowledge, maybe about your ability to organize events, your communication skills, your language ability. Other than English, Chinese, do you speak any other languages as well? And you'll make sure that you have a profile photo, a professional headshot. And another major requirement is you need to have at least 50 friends, 50 connections on LinkedIn before your profile will become all stars. So go and you'll connect all your friends, your classmates, your high school friends, anybody that you know. Now, when it comes to the all-star profile tips for job seekers, all of you are looking for jobs, internships, full-time jobs, or whatsoever. Some professional LinkedIn trainers say you need to have a professional headshot in formal attire. That means your business suit. And you need to have an attractive banner, and you need to have a headline, and your headline is only limited to 120 characters. And you need to have a personal summary as well. Now, the professional headshot, this is the kind that you get from some of the studios, professional studios. And a headshot like this will get you 14 times more profile views. And some of the trainers say, oh, you cannot wear glasses, you cannot wear hats, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. You have to look squarely into the camera, you have to smile. Yes and no, all right? The reason why I say yes and no is because there are all kinds of people that I know on LinkedIn that violate this. And I would like to show you their profiles. Now, this is my profile, and I'm going to share it with you to show you what it looks like. Okay, I'm going to screen share. Now, this is my professional headshot. I did it on the same day with Kevin Goh in one of the professional studios in Hong Kong. And this is a LinkedIn account that I helped a very good friend of mine to update. Her picture was not done in a professional studio, but it looks very nice because she looks very sharp, with a red blouse. And then she also used a banner, okay, that is very different from most people. When it comes to the professional headshot, some people say, oh, you cannot wear a hat, you cannot wear glasses. And I think that is not true. Now, this is one of my connections. This is a guy that I learned how to put together my LinkedIn profile and all of those things from. Take a look at his profile pic. He has glasses, and because he's bald, he is wearing a hat. And when you take a look at his banner, he's got all the important keywords. He custom create a banner for himself. And when you look at his description, 120 characters, he is using all the keywords that can facilitate an ATS search, the applicant tracking system. So this is a very smart guy that really knows about personal marketing. And the last one that I would like to show you is this guy, okay? Look at him. He doesn't even look at the camera at all. You don't see his face at all. You're only half of it. And yet, this is a person that I'm going to introduce you to a little bit later on. So, when it comes to these kinds of advice about your professional photos and this and that, there are many different ways of doing it. But having said that, you are not marketing gurus like these people. Even I am not. So I would rather go for the safe way, which is to go to a studio, take a nice picture, and then put it there. And so this is something that I would like to remind all of you of. Okay. And another thing is about the banner. It's about the banner. Let me share okay. It's about the banner. The banner, I would suggest you to find something that accentuates your professional headshot, in terms of the color, in terms of maybe the graphical content, the imagery or whatsoever that you want to use. And the headline, okay, the headline, it's only limited to 120 characters. Every person will have a different way of writing their headlines. In my situation, I put down information about my vision, my mission, and also my passion. And you find that I do have a tagline. Now, what is a tagline? It's a little bit like when you go and watch a movie, and then in the movie, they usually have a motto or something. And then my motto is I help young people find their passion, refine their personal profile, and define the pathways to their destination. But you remember this one that I show you, this marketing guy from Malaysia, he put all the keywords that facilitate people to search for him in the algorithm. So all of these are different ways for you to consider. Now, other than that, Okay, another thing that I would like to remind you is about your personal summary. Now, this personal summary is much longer. You have altogether 2,000 characters, and you can tell and sell your personal story about your educational qualifications, your work experience, your knowledge, your interests, and your mind is really very short because I'm not actively looking for a job. I'm only passively looking for a job. But if you are actively looking for a job, I will encourage you to write longer. Maybe some paragraphs, 2 or 3 paragraphs, or 2 to 3 sentences each, to make sure that you give enough information of yourself to your potential employer or to any kind of HR person that will find you. Okay, now after saying that, I would like to share with you tips about connecting to professionals or knowledge workers. Now, this is very useful information for you to know. There are altogether over 7 million LinkedIn members in different countries worldwide, and you can find in the United States, in Europe, in China, in Hong Kong, all these different countries. Now, the reason why I'm showing you this is because I want to tell you there are a lot of people out there, and 50% of those have a college degree, at least a bachelor degree, and 51% of the US college graduates have a LinkedIn profile, and the user's average income is quite a lot. So we are not talking about the kinds of people that you can find in other social media platforms, like Instagram or perhaps like Facebook, because these are people that are educated, and maybe you can consider them as the elite. We have so many accountants, so many MBA graduates, and a lot of decision makers, and the HR professionals. 95% have a LinkedIn account, and they stalk on people's profiles. Perhaps you may wonder, okay, now I know I need to connect. Then why do I need to connect? Number one, to get new subject knowledge, to get new workplace insights, and most important of all, job opportunities as well. So why? Because you are able to find your prospective referees and get your positive skill recommendation from these people, your contacts, and at the same time to enlarge your professional network as well. So who do you connect to? Remember, I said your friends, your classmates, your course mates, and your alumni from OCamp or whatever, and those people from your secondary schools as well, particularly if they don't attend the same university as you do. And one thing that I would like to share with you is this. Okay, and I have already done my search. Okay, here is my LinkedIn account. And what I did was I clicked on the search, and I type in the word marketing. And immediately, all these people, take a look. This is 54 million people that have the word marketing in their profile. So I can just scroll through all of them. And these are people that have shared connections with me. And I can click on this connect button and be connected with them. Because my profile states that I have been teaching in HKUST. So a lot of these people probably are HKUST alumni as well. And as I was searching through this, I found this one that is very interesting. Rachel Ching, Miss Hong Kong 2016. And I was thinking, what? I've got a Miss Hong Kong over here that has a LinkedIn profile. Okay, I'm not going to stalk her profile, and I just would like to show you this to let you know that you can start using this search button to search for people. And other than this, I will also want you to try out the location. Maybe I want to try United States. Okay, and then immediately it will give me the results of all the people that somehow in a way are connected to my network that I can find in the United States, and I can connect to them. All right, now having shared with you this, I would like to go back to my slide about this. Okay, wait. here. I said, who do you connect? Friends, classmates, course mates, alumni, OCamp leaders. And other than that, tutors, lecturers, professors, university staff, like the people in the SAO, the people in the hall, and any course instructors. Now, why do I mention about course instructors? Because last time in Kevin Go's workshop, he explained about you can go and take courses to differentiate yourself from other students taking the same course as you in Chinese University or HKUST. And this is one that I would like to share with you. I'm not sure whether you have heard of something that is called Skillshare. Okay, this is the website of Skillshare. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because there are different kinds of courses that you can take. Now, I'm not introducing you to any of these courses, but just take a look. These are the people that put together courses. And there's this guy called Jeff Staple. Now, you can see his professional picture. And when you click on it, it will show you, it will take you to his website, how many followers, he's the founder of his own company and this and that, right? Okay. Now, the reason why I want to show you this is not to introduce you to his course, but I found him on LinkedIn. This is the same guy, no hair, all right? But he doesn't have that many connections. And to answer the question about how do you know whether those people that you connect to, they are real or not, go and take a look at their profile. Do they give you a lot of details about themselves, about their company, about the schools that they have gone to, about maybe the activities and things like that? Because this morning I actually got a request to connect, and I thought, okay, I searched through this person and we seem to have something in common and all that, right? And ta-da! Can you see my screen now? This guy that asked me to connect to, he is trying to sell me something. How well have you been? And then he's trying to sell me a franchise to his business. And oh, now I understand why he's so eager to connect with me. And among my friends that I also have received requests from people that have a common contact with me. But when I stalk through the profile, hey, how come the profile is so empty? It just says you're engineer and that's all. So you have to be careful, and you have to do your due diligence in searching out who these people are before you decide whether to connect to them. So other than your university professors, your course instructors are people that you can connect to. And other than that, past colleagues, supervisors, clients, acquaintances from professional networking events, conferences, these are people that I encourage all of you to connect to. And how do you connect or who to connect? Join professional groups like this LinkedIn Career Explorer group. And as I have mentioned, I have already got all the tabs. This is the one. LinkedIn has especially opened a page or a group for people in university to look for jobs and to connect to people in similar circumstances. So I encourage all of you to try this out, to join and see whether there's anything that you can gain from this kind of professional groups. And other than that, okay, one of the questions asks how do you connect to these people? Read their posts. Make a positive comment, like their post, request to connect to them, write a polite message. Hi, like this. Hi, so-and-so, I read your post on this topic. I found it very useful in helping me do something. I look forward to reading more of your posts in the future. Thank you for sharing. So this is the polite way of saying hi, rather than just click the simple button, connect. And you also need to interact to nurture your new friendships on LinkedIn by liking other people's posts, by giving comments that are positive. So this is how you engage to grow your network. And as I mentioned, I hope that today I would be able to share with you some tips that I know about growing your network, you're connecting to friends. And in the next workshop, I will be focusing my attention to what kinds of posts you need to start putting up, reading or sharing and adding personal comments, curating posts and things like that. And I see the time now is 1:23. Yay, I'm spot on. And I hope that I have shared with you the answers to question number 1 or comment number 1 and also comment number 4. And next, I would like to ask any questions so far. You can type your questions on chat. Or I may just simply hand over the time to my partner, Kevin Goh, and later on, we may have a longer Q&A session. Okay, so thank you. And Kevin, your turn.
Right, thank you so much for basically going through with the students itself on LinkedIn, and I'm going to go through with you on the last section of resume writing, focusing more a lot onto the at the end of the day, focusing a lot onto ATS and what does it mean by ATS altogether, some of the things that you need to do. Now, to answer your questions, like, can I have a one-on-one? I know Connie is in here today. Connie, correct me if I'm wrong. The business faculty basically for CUHK, right? The business faculty basically has a team to look after students' resume and also cover letter. Is it? Am I correct or am I wrong, Connie?
I think it's the career center.
It's the. I know.
I'm not sure. I have to check.
But I definitely know at the end of the day is that there will be someone who can actually help you to do all these kind of things. However, because most of you are, whomever that's going to be my students or also Kitty and Connie at the same time, if you really do need help, then you can always just come forward. We'll be more than happy to help you. But of course, Stan, you have to give us enough time to help you, and that's for sure. Don't give us your resume and say I need it by tomorrow. I will probably personally chop you to death before I would give it to you. I will do something for you. Either way, if you really do need that one-on-one and the discussion itself, you're more than welcome to see me. All right, and that's for sure. That is to answer question number 3 altogether. All right, to have a variety of those resumes. For crying out loud, you're a university student, and at the same time, you have learned to do some research. Google them, they are everywhere. It's just that, you just need to be able to Google them. And at the same time as well, even for ATS to work, you have to start reading different resumes. There is a reason why, and I'm going to go through with you today. All right, so today I'm going to go through with you things on resume writing, and by then last week we actually stopped here, right, looking at this young chap basically asking for, who's a financial analyst, basically going through certain things, and that's basically where we have stopped. And I'm going to continue today with our resume workshop, focusing more onto the ATS and also onto the ATS friendly words altogether. So applicant tracking system, or the ATS system, basically is a software program that enables recruiters or employers to track applicants or handle resume data electronically. So I have, and Aina have basically helped me to add on altogether, is that at the end of the day, because the nature where you are applying, right, Hong Kong has like what, 7 million people alone, just for a very small city, and you have a lot of other applicants from other universities applying for the same job. Then how in the world then are they going to go through, right, everybody at the same time, especially if you want to join companies like the Fortune 500, those big KPMG companies? Then you have to make sure that you have a very ATS friendly and at the same time reader friendly resumes that will be able to help you to sift through everything. So ATS basically at the end of the day is just a program or a robot to typically rate, ranks, and select applicants based on some of the things itself. So this is the thing. So in order for you to make sure that it is ATS friendly and ATS optimized, you have to know these two words because they are completely different. Therefore, your resume must be made in a way where when your resume is being scanned through, right, the computer system or the program itself will be able to track and at the same time pick up your resume to be one of those resumes that will be flagged as a very good resume, right, for them to look at it. So how do you do that, right? And let's move on to that. There are certain things that you need to go through. So ATS friendly refers to the format and the design of your resume to ensure that when your resume is being scanned, the robot will be able to analyze it properly. And there are certain do's and don'ts that you have to go through, which I'll show you in the next few slides. When you're designing your resume, other than whatever that we normally teach you, like, oh, you must have this, you must have that, pay attention to the structure and how key information is being placed as well. There are two parts within the resume to make it ATS friendly that you must put all your information there. And I'll show you more about it later as well. All right, that is on ATS friendly. To make it ATS, to optimize the ATS system itself, you must tailor the needs to the target market. All right, Anna basically has mentioned last week itself that when you make your resume, you have to make sure that it follows the application letter, or at the same time, follow the recruitment, follow the advertisement, and that's for sure. And whatever that the advertisement needs, you need to be able to put it down. That's how you make sure that you tailored it closer to whatever that the advertisement is asking you to do. So therefore, the content itself at the same time as well, when you're creating your resume, must be targeted to the industry, company, and the job at the same time, so that it will be able to optimize everything. All right. Write in a way that the ATS robot will be able to rate, rank, and select your resume for the recruiter to read yours. And to do that, you need to incorporate keywords and key phrases, right? A lot of things to swallow and a lot of things to digest. But at the same time, I'm going to walk you through with some of the things that I've actually learned from my certificate together with Anna's certificate as well. To make sure that it is ATS friendly, the first thing that you have to do is that you need to use standard fonts. All right. So what does it mean by standard fonts? Fonts like Arial, fonts like Garamond, fonts like Times New Roman, they are standard fonts. You might then say, but they are very boring. Yeah, they are very boring. But the thing is, are you going to apply to be a designer, or are you applied to be a business person? Right? That's the first question that you have to ask. So you have to make sure that because you're going to really then submit your resume as a resume for a business person, right? Then you make sure that it is ATS friendly, make sure that they are able to scan through. So you have to make sure that it is a font that is most commonly used so that they will be able to scan through it easily. When basically then you create your resume, make sure that you use a font size between 9 to 12. For example, Arial works well with 9, Garamond works well with 12. Garamond doesn't work well with 9 because Garamond is slightly smaller than Arial. Arial is a very, very nice font to use, but Arial is really, really, really big. That's for sure. So you have to put it into 9. So make sure that other than, this is the thing that I'm going to add in now, other than making it ATS friendly, you also have to make it recruiter friendly. Basically means when your resume is being flagged by the recruiter doesn't need to hold on their glasses and then start reading everything. If that basically what the recruiter needs to do, it's not recruiter friendly and it's going to go down the trash bin as well. And that's basically, it's not something that you want. So make sure that it is a font size friendly for the recruiter at the same time. Avoid fancy styles and shadows because shadows make it very hard for the computer to scan the word, right? So drop all the shadows if you have them. Now, texts are easy to read, especially if you're bold, underline, etc. What it means here is at the end of the day, when you basically want to bold something, underline something, italize something, or use something with a whole bunch of capital letters, make sure that they are easy to read. And that's the reason why we always say go for Arial or Garamond, all right? words for certain fonts are easier to read than other fonts. And if you bold them, basically you want them to be, you want them to be able to read them as well, right? That's for sure. Avoid justifying text, right? We always say, but if you don't justify the text, it looks ugly. Yes, if you don't justify your resume, it looks bloody ugly. But that's a downfall. If you justify your text or your paragraph, you notice that sometimes your words, they are elongated to make sure that it can be justified as the whole sentence. And when you elongated it, sometimes it creates uneven spacing between words that will then interfere with the scanner. So what you do is avoid justifying text for this particular reason, right? Now, ensure characters are basically not too close altogether. So if certain sentence fonts, you realize that they are very close together, there is a way to make the characters in a way to be slightly, in a way where it is slightly apart. And that's basically what you need to do. Use simple symbols for bullet points. Don't use fancy symbols as well. The round bullet point is perfectly fine, right? This is the thing. Add space between your full name and credentials at the same time, or taglines, so that they don't really scan your full name and at the same time your credential as your name. So make sure that at the end of the day, you have that. And if you place a table or text box in your resume, arrange the words to the extent that you can basically, when they scan it through, then the computer or the program itself will be able to scan through and make sense in a plain text format. Because when they scan certain things, they don't scan that, oh, this is a table, or in the table itself, this is how it's supposed to go. So when you create a table for your resume, make sure that the table makes sense for the scanner, all right, for the ATS things to work. And that's basically is ATS friendly number 1. ATS friendly number 2, use reverse chronological order for the robot to be able to calculate your years of experience. All right. So whenever you write your years of experience, make sure that it is in reverse chronological order, and it is not in chronological order in that sense. It starts off with the presence all the way to the end. This is another thing. Avoid insert content as headers and footers, because at the end of the day, every time you insert a content as headers and footers, they become really small, and then the computer might not be able to pick it up. All right. Now, this is where I need to go into, and you need to remember all your important selling points, because you are selling yourself. So whatever selling points that you have, put it in the education and the experience. All right, sorry about the S typing error there, because there was another word. So remember, you put in all the education and the experience into whatever that you have. That's when these are the 2 headers that they will always use to scan, and that is for sure. All right. 3, use generic headings. Don't use fancy words that you want to create. If it is extracurricular activities, then put extracurricular activities. If it is education, put it as education. If it is work experience, put it as work experience. Don't put it as something fancy to the extent that the ATS will not be able to scan it. And if basically you want to include information into your work experience, remember to include in this particular order: company's name, job title, start and end date, job responsibilities, and accomplishments in this order, because this is a typical way for recruiters, or this is a very typical way for resume to be written. All right. And of course, you can always add projects and assignments under work history if you realize that they are some of the projects and assignments where you think it will be relevant to whatever that you are basically applying for. So that is everything that I can actually tell you in terms of the format. And this is only format alone, right? Now, let's move on to the next thing, ATS optimization. So how do you optimize it for ATS? Now, remember when I asked you to start reading advertisements, job postings, start talking to people, start stalking other people's LinkedIn account, even though Anna said don't do that. At the end of the day, what you want because you are an intern and you basically things that you don't have the knowledge, like me, Connie, and Anna, because we have been in the education line for so long, we kind of like know our buzzwords. So if, say, for example, we want to go to other countries, or we want to jump to another company to work with, or we want to jump into other things as well, we then know our buzzwords, we know our keywords, we know our phrases. But however, say for example, if I were to move to business after this and I'm done with teaching, I want to go do want to be maybe an editor, then I also need to go through all those job advertisements and or have to go through all the job postings, not to basically learn what they are offering, but it's more into like looking at the keywords. When you're writing your ATS friendly resume, you need to have a generous number of keywords and phrases that are related to the target job and industry. The more, the merrier. You don't want to constantly reuse the same one as well, because that basically is not going to work. All right. Now, submit a longer resume if you need to, with more relevant keywords and phrases. Now, I say if needed. If you do not need a longer resume because you are just a university student looking for an internship and you don't have a lot of work experience, please make sure that your resume is cut into 1 page long. You can go beyond, like say for example, like you are in the education department and like one of my friend, basically he is a sports he is basically a a PE teacher, and at the same time he has represents Hong Kong in taekwondo and stuff like that. Then because of his constant contests and his constant skills that he have learned, certificates that he has actually picked up, then it might go beyond that. Other than that, then no. For you, you need to make sure that it is you jam everything into 1 page. 1.5 pages is weird, 2 pages is okay, but only if it is relevant to you. That is the thing that you have to think about as well. All right. Now, consider including variations of keywords, including company and industry specific words. Like for example, customer relationship management, operational efficiencies, continuous improvements, processes, procedures, standards, protocols, regulations. Make sure that you read all those things. At the end of the day, you read whatever that is within your industry to be able to pick up all those keywords, or I like to call them buzzwords. All right. Use nouns that recruiters are likely to enter into the ATS system. That's why you need to look at all those job postings as well, so that other than being called a financial analyst, will there be any other way or any other title that might work, like artwork designer and artwork design? Go through all those things. What you do at the end of the day is that you want to scatter those words and phrases throughout your resume and make sure that it is robot and reader friendly, right? I always have to say recruiter friendly, reader friendly, because at the end of the day, once the robot has scanned through everything, and the robot say, oh, this is a good resume. And then the recruiter picks it up, and then the recruiter say, man, I can't read a single word. It's going to be problematic as well. So make sure that you scatter your words and phrases. Make sure that you don't repeat them, because at the end of the day, that's laziness, and at the same time, it's badly reflecting your resume. Make sure you scatter them throughout the entire thing. And at the same time, it's ATS and recruiter friendly. So there are a lot of things for you to consider when it comes to designing a resume that is ATS friendly and ATS optimized, right? And that basically is something that only you can basically think about, because it is your resume, right? Other than making it beautiful and other than making it, catchy, you yourself will have to think of all these kind of things. And remember, the more you know about the industry, the better you will be able to, in a way, optimize your resume for ATS, right? And that is basically it. So let's look at some of the things that we need to do at the end of the day when it comes to vocabulary. words like, for example, say, for example, this is what we have last week. Words like check, take care, have been communicating, have been using. These kind of words, basically, they are fine. They are easy to understand words. But at the same time, then, are they optimized for the algorithm? Are they optimized for whatever that you need to optimize? What you can do at the end of the day is, I'm going to show you some of the things that you can actually do. You can look at action verbs. If you type action verbs, you Google it, and it will come out like crazy, right? I am showing you some websites where I think they are simple to understand, but they are not from universities. So some colleagues might say, hey, yeah, why are you getting it from the news? Why are you getting it from Indeed? The thing is, at the end of the day, you can use, they will give you, like, for example, you can lead, you led a project, you can actually use shared, control, coordinated, executed, headed, operated, very, very fancy word. These are also some of the words that you can actually put it onto your resume. But there's a but. You have to know one thing as well. Do you know these words, right? Do you know these words? So I'm going to quote, I'm not going to name that person, but basically, I was reading this resume, one of the, sometimes within my lifespan. And basically, this student basically said at the end of the day that he was, right, okay, he was basically in that group project, all right? So he was basically in that team, and he was in that team working together with his colleagues, all right, to work on some of the programs. But he used the word in a way that advised colleagues, all right, about something. What's the problem here? Can't you use advice? Advice is a very good use. Advice is like, I'm sure advice will be one of those very ATS friendly words. Yeah, advice is a very friendly word, but you're working as an intern in a team and you're advising your colleagues over something. That's when you realize that sometimes the words that you use or the vocabulary that you're using, it doesn't make sense in that sense. Because who are you to advise? And at the same time as well, only consultants advise. When you advise something, most of the time you don't do the work. That is the thing. So when you are, in a way, placing your action verbs into your resume and optimizing it for the algorithm, you yourself then have to make sure that you know how to use those words. If not, these words are just going to be random words that will not be useful at all at the end of the day, right? Because they do not then give out whatever it is that you need. Remember, as I said, ATS friendly, recruiter friendly. When the recruiter read these kind of things, read your sentence and it doesn't make sense, then that's not going to work as well, right? So action verbs, just Google action verbs, it will come out entirely everywhere. Basically, you'll be able to see resume action verbs everywhere, action verbs that will help you to finalize, to understand certain things. But remember, you need to be able to use them properly. If not, then it will not work. That's what I am trying to say. All right, now that you have maximized the ATS for it, then therefore you can basically do things like, for example, because he's a financial analyst, then you can use the word like audited and accessed various accounts for clients like BNG Music and PNG, etc. And 2017 and 19 basically have been checking and liaising clients to ensure that the reports were verified, have been maximizing the use of Excel in analyzing customers. Some of them a bit off, and that will be on grammar. That also you need to look at. If you are still doing the job itself, remember it will always be in present tense, unless you are obviously sure that that will not be your main priority again already, or that is a project that you have led and at the same time, in a way, ended long time ago, then you can use the past tense, right? That's the thing. So make sure most of the time, if it's something that you're still currently doing, put it in a simple tense, right? And at the end of the day as well, if it's something that is in the past, make sure that you put them in the past tense for your resume. Just a very simple one altogether because you kind of like know this already. Okay. Now let's then transfer from your resume to your LinkedIn. In your LinkedIn, you don't do bullet points because you're supposed to tell stories. You don't do bullet points. That's the thing. So in order to then maximize your LinkedIn profile, you don't then put bullet points like this. What you do instead is you write them out. I audit and access accounts for corporate clients like BNG Music, PNG, and others. You write them like how you write stories. And at the same time, your LinkedIn, when you start writing your stories all together, make sure that they are not similar to your resume. Because say, for example, if that person say, "Ooh, I like you. Can I hire you?" And the next thing is, or you don't really want to do this, sorry, it's the other way around. When, say, for example, the recruiter looks at your resume and then the recruiter, I'm going to stop this person on his or her LinkedIn account now. And then look at the LinkedIn and be like, ooh, all the words are the same. Then it's not going to be good. So when you're writing your LinkedIn, make sure that you change whatever writing style that you have. Do not copy and paste your resume directly. Now, you might then say, but sir, audit and access is the same word. This is the thing. If it is a keyword for that particular industry, then you don't change the keyword. What else can you change audit to? If you're an auditor, you can't. So if it's a buzzword or a keyword, then put it there still. If it is not a buzzword or keyword or words that are currently interchangeable, then change them. Like this one, Deloitte. My main duty was to review and work closely with clients to warrant that the reports were in order. Basically something simple. To do that, I have employed Excel in analyzing my client's data, and I am an intermediate user of Excel now. Right? Say, for example, that's one of the programs that you are currently using for that. So either way, then at the end of the day, to maximize your LinkedIn work experience, remember to turn this into whatever that you need to turn it into. And that will basically be storytelling. You need to tell stories in your LinkedIn profile. You don't use bullet points, you use the word I and we and the personal pronoun as well, because LinkedIn at the end of the day, it is still a networking platform. It is still a social media platform, not so social, but at the same time, it is still a platform, and you don't want to make it soft to the extent that it becomes very, very formal, and it's going to be bad for you in that sense, right? So these are all the things that I have to share with you when it comes to putting it into your resume, from content to resume writing to vocabulary, ATS friendly, ATS optimizing it to LinkedIn. And that's basically will be the whole thing that you need to do for you to create a very good LinkedIn account, right? And at the same time, to create a good resume. The time now is 1:50. The problem with Anna and I is that we are so into Toastmasters that time is precious, and at the same time, time must be definite. So the time now is 1:50, and I'm going to hand the floor or the control back to Anna to ask you to do something for us, which will be the QR code, and at the same time to answer whatever questions that you might have for us. Anna?
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Kevin Goh, for sharing with us your such useful tips regarding the difference in terms of the language or for an ATS ready or ATS friendly resume and the language for a personal LinkedIn profile. At the end of today's session, before we ask you any questions or whatsoever, I would like to ask all of you to please give us some feedback. Because without your feedback, we won't be able to address particular questions or concerns that you may have regarding our next workshop, which is on your how to write LinkedIn posts and also to put together a cover letter. Kevin Goh put it very nicely. You can use the information in your LinkedIn profile to generate a LinkedIn resume. But I'm so sorry, that will not be to your advantage because the language style is different and the information you cannot edit. So it is always best to find a template on the internet that you really like, and then you'll custom tailor that you're using whatever personal information that you have. All right, and while I am trying to ask anybody, do you have any questions for us? Can I ask all of you to please do us a big favor by scanning this QR code and answering 4 simple, straightforward questions about the objective of our workshops today. Does it help you in learning the language to use in your LinkedIn profile compared to your resume? And do you think my workshop has helped you to know who to connect to, or are you going to connect to professionals after this workshop? All right, and I would like to end here and ask any questions. Does anybody have any questions you'd like to ask us?
Well,
comments?
Great. Any comments, anything altogether before I add something that I need to add before we end the day altogether? Anything to ask?
You can type it on chat.
Anything? Anyone? Connie? Anything?
All right, I've got 2 questions. Now, let me read the first one. If we were to connect with friends or acquaintances, do we still need to send them a message before we add them? No. Okay, if you already know those people, there's no need. But if it is somebody that you know, but you haven't talked to or you haven't met for quite a while. I mean, like 2 days ago, I asked to connect to a friend in the Toastmasters club that I joined about 8 or 9 years ago. At that time, we were on very good terms. A young lady by the name of Charlotte. And then I found her just early this week on LinkedIn, and I connect. And then I said, Charlotte, how are you? How are things with you? And wish you a happy, healthy 2021, something like that. It's very simple. Remember, you want these people to be your referee and give you a recommendation in the future. So it would be a good practice, to send a simple message just to say, hi, how have you been doing, or whatsoever. Now, the second question, may I ask, what is the difference between CV and resume? Kevin, go, please.
Well, at the end of the day, in the industry, there is not much difference. It's just that one is longer, the other one is shorter, if you want to put it that way. The recruiters, basically, they use it interchangeably, that's for sure, regardless whether it is CV or resume. As long as you know that, yeah, I am a student, then therefore, yes, please make sure that it is going to be concise and, in a way, spot on. Like for us, Anna, and at the same time, Connie, and say, for example, we want to we want to be promoted as professors, then probably we won't look at resume, but we will look at CV. Because CV in the Latin translation, it means a long, can I curse? A long piece of document that would document your entire life. So for us in education, sadly, we have to, because we have done enough research, we have done a lot of research, we have done a lot of papers, we have to write those things in. But for you all, even if you have done papers and projects, you don't put all your projects in. You put in projects that will create the sense where it is a wow factor for people to look at it. Like small little tiny projects like 2 days event to somewhere. If you're a manager already and you're creating a 2 days event, to you, then it doesn't mean anything. But to an intern, of course, but you'll have to look at the experience then. So when you are older already, and then you realize there are a lot of information that you just don't put, unless you are like us, and at the same time you want to, they need a detailed CV, then you send them a CV. So CV in Latin basically means really your entire lifespan, work that you have done. So that's the translation of curriculum vitae. Okay.
All right, any other questions? I would like to take the last 2 minutes or so to encourage all of you to start building your LinkedIn profile. When I started about 7 months ago, last year in June, it took me 2 complete weeks. Every day I would go to my LinkedIn profile to add a little bit, and then to edit the wording and to make sure that I find what I consider as your good-looking banner photo. And it's so challenging to add people to your LinkedIn profile because you find that somehow around the number of 200 something, that is more or less your maximum. So I would encourage you to go and find your past colleagues, supervisors, clients, your people that you know. Remember, courses that you have taken, Skillshare is okay as long as you can connect to the instructors, or any kind of professional courses that you took out of the university. Okay, out of the university. And of course, you are most welcome to connect to me and Kevin Goh so that we can start to be, KOLs of LinkedIn or resume or whatsoever. I mean, just joking, okay? Your friends, so that would be a good source.
To add on, it's good to add your lecturers as well, especially if your lecturer is an active user of LinkedIn profiles, because your lecturer tends to also have students, past students, right? Then you can connect from your lecturer to his or her past students, and then you can connect from them as well. At the end of the day, you need the connection to start somewhere, don't you? Okay, you can always talk to your seniors because your seniors have taken the same course from the same professor. Who knows? Right? So great. Let me just add on this before we end our workshop for today. At the end of the day, for next week, for my session, for next week, Anna will be looking at how you can actually create some posts to start sharing, so that your LinkedIn profile will be something that will, in a way, where the algorithm will pull you up, right? So that you will be flagged by people from the industry. Will be flagged up to the top, so that people from the industry will be able to take notice of you. It's something that you must do as well, right? And that is what Anna will be doing. And for me, I will be moving into cover letters, and that will be another thing that you need to do. If, say, for example, you want to send, right? They need an application, they need a cover letter in order for you to send it to the other person. All right, great. I'll pass it back to you, Anna, to end everything then.
Thank you. The time now is 2 o'clock sharp. So this commences our workshop today. And if any HKUST student would like to stay behind to ask me questions, you are most welcome to. If any Chinese university student would like to stay behind and ask Kevin questions, you're also most welcome to. What we can do is simply open up breakout rooms, and then we'll just put you guys in the breakout room, and we can further proceed with clarification, explanations, Q&A or whatsoever. If not, then thank you all of you for coming, and we look forward to seeing all of you again. Last session next Friday, 1 to 2. Thank you and bye-bye.